What's
What's the point?
like you were
Yep,
so
left you
far.
behind.
You were
Yep,
so
I left
far
you
off.
behind. I went ahead
No,
and
you
did it
didn't.
without you. Cause yes, I did. Cause I didn't even see your lips
You,
move. So yeah, let's go.
that's because I'm on this computer. I said anyway. Moving
Exactly.
forward. Welcome to today's show. Today is going to be about dynamics. It's another part of our relationship series we're doing. It's kind of being chopped
Episode
up a little bit
3.
based on when we can get our guests to come on. But
Yeah.
this
Scheduling
the
people is
topic,
not easy, people.
sweetie. Shh. The topic
No.
today is we're going to talk about dynamics in a relationship, whatever type of relationship that may be. But we're going to kind of discuss dynamics. We do have a special guest with us today on the show. Please welcome Jay Phoenix, the illustrious Jay.
Yes. Woo! Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Very
we
welcome.
appreciate you. We are going to chat with Jay about dynamics. To be have some dynamics of his own. We're gonna chat with him about that. See where his head is, what his thoughts are, and do what we do, have a conversation.
Yes. Before we get started, Jay, we want to ask you to give the audience some tidbits about who you are, your background in, the whole dynamic situation and things of that nature, if you please.
Absolutely. So my name is Daddy J. I am the current member of Onyx Great Lakes. I'm the pledge master. But I also am part of the Chewabanja Leather family. Um, it started back in 2018. It's kind of changed over the years because, as you know, as relationships go, things happen. And so you have to move some people around and, take some in, take some out. And that's basically how my family is. I was covered, which means that I wear a mirror cap, and I have a boy and a puppy. And then my family's a little different because we're kind of two pronged because my leather uncle has his side of the family, and then we all come together in the middle. So that's how we work it out.
So
Okay.
for the muggles, Jay, can you before we ask any questions, I just want
The
can you
muggles.
explain for the people outside of the leather and kink community what a boy or a puppy is, what those things are?
Sure.
And the meerkat as well.
So a mirror cap is basically it's a leather cap. Some of them are leather. And it's a black cap. A lot of people you would know say some police officers do wear them, unfortunately. But um, you know, but it's a sign that you are a sir or a daddy or a master. They can be worn both by male or female. As far as dynamics are concerned, there is two different. There's dominant and there's submissive. So on the dominant side, you can have a daddy, a master, a sir, a mommy, a ma'am, and then or handler. And on the submissive side, you can have a boy, girl, puppy, kitten, uh, slave. So those are pretty much the the major dynamics that are in the community.
So just in that, I need you to explain what makes a boy and a puppy. Like,
It's all headspace. It's
okay,
all how you identify. Puppies and boys tend to um, be submissive and they want to serve. Sometimes some more than others, but boys generally um, want to serve and they look for a daddy or a sir, and so does a puppy, usually a handler or a daddy.
okay,
Robina,
okay.
you
If
you good?
you would like to go, I just
Uh,
wanted the normals.
I didn't want to interrupt, because I can like when
Never stopped you before.
uh I'm trying to be
You on your
demure.
best
I'm
behavior.
trying to be I'm trying to be
Demure.
mindful. There's a daddy in the room. I'm trying to be demure.
You're never demure around daddies.
Good
Anyway,
luck. Good luck.
Bitch, first of all, don't sit here and try to call me on no shit. Like I said, I'm trying to be mindful.
bitch, first
Anyway,
of all, don't
so
be upset about facts. Anyway,
You stepped
so
out of your
what I want to
demureness.
get to,
Bring it back.
so what I want to get to is the differences in, boys and puppies and things like that. Yes, but I want to go back. What brought you first into wanting to be in a dynamic in the first place? Like, what interests you about exploring this part of different types of relationships? You know what I mean? And you're a daddy, so you have experienced a lot from probably, being a boy and all these other things. So, you know, what brought you around to that? Like, let's dive into that part.
So when I first came into the community, I identify as a boy. I actually had two sirs, and eventually we call it our leather journey. And so
Yes.
as you walk this journey, you begin to figure out who you are. So it's a lot of times you'll walk in one way and walk out completely different. I thought I was
Mhm.
submissive. I thought I was a boy. I thought that I wanted people to tell me what to do, and it turns out I did not. And so, in
Hawkins.
in
He said, "Let's learn that really good, huh?" He's like, "I don't like this."
quick. So after I crossed over into Onyx in June of 2015, immediately within 2 weeks of me crossing, I released myself from my leather family because we had what I like to call irreconcilable differences, and I decided
Like
I
a
was going.
divorce.
Yeah, and it's a breakup. So we broke up, and I went solo dolo. Um, and eventually, I noticed that people were gravitating towards me, asking me questions, and I didn't think anything of it. I just kept on being solo dolo and started walking my journey. I was approached now, so let me just start by saying that I come from there's a lot of different schools of thought, and so there's old guard, there's new guard, there's mixed guard, there's all kind of different guards, and I am a mixture between old and new, and I believe that a boy approaches the daddy versus the daddy selecting the boy. So I was approached by my boy, who has now been my boy for going on 7 years, to be his daddy, and I said no 3 times because I did not feel that I was in a space where I could be a daddy. Because I also believe that to be a daddy, you're taking someone in your hands, kind of molding them, kind of shaping them. And I didn't think I had enough experience for me to be a daddy. So I turned them down like 3 times before I actually said yes. And so that's how I became a daddy. But I went and got a mentor, and this mentor worked with me for about 6 months and gave me assignments and things of that nature. And then when he felt I was ready, he let me out into the community. And then probably about a couple of months later, I got covered by my family.
Okay, that's all what's up. Like when you are in these spaces and being a boy, I understand what you're saying about approaching um, daddies. I was taught the opposite. I was taught that if a daddy was interested, that they would approach you. So I've never approached a daddy. No, that's not true. I've never approached a daddy and say I want to be your boy right away. But I have done it. But I've always been taught that a daddy is supposed to show interest first.
Yeah, that's not how I was. And everybody's brought up different. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Um, But I believe, and it all comes to how you perceive me in the community. So if you
Hmm.
think that I am worthy enough to be your daddy, because I think that we get caught up in dominant, submissive roles where you
Right,
know
right, right.
one is powerless and one is not. That boy has all the power, in my opinion,
Yes.
because he's teaching me to lead him on his leather journey.
Now, does Puppy? The puppy is a total submissive. Is that correct, or does he have any switch tendencies? Because that's another thing that I wonder when daddies in dynamics. Like, how do you handle when you have a submissive that is a switch? Like, I know that's one of the reasons that I don't have a daddy now. Like, that was one of the things. Is like a lot of the daddies or potentials that I dealt with were comfortable with me in the submissive role, but then when I show that I have a domineering side, they could not handle that. So, how do you, in your dynamics, or if you have dealt with this, how do you deal with the switch aspect of it? You know what I mean?
Well,
And
I'm
for
gonna say
those who
this.
don't know, let me just jump in. Switch is like you can flip from submissive to dominant, and you
Dominant.
don't
Thank you,
on
Hemi.
one. Okay, go ahead,
So
Jay.
I'm gonna be very clear. Puppy is not a switch. He
Hmm.
is submissive, but he's also not
Hmm.
service puppy. So he's a bratty puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you're a service puppy, what is it? Because it's
Bratty puppy who annoys the hell out of his daddy. Um, and he's still growing, but he's definitely not a service puppy. Now my boy in Chicago is a service boy. He Whenever he's around daddy, he takes care of daddy. Puppy, I have to nudge because he's a bratty puppy. But
Hmm.
yes, so
so.
I have a
so
question.
yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
go ahead, Jay. You have more to add, Jay?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. So here's a question I am intrigued to hear your answer on. So because I've known you for quite some time, um, I know that there are moments when your family had to be rearranged or your dynamic had to be rearranged, and maybe someone has to step out or step in. And how do you, and I'm going to ask you the two parts. So how do you handle if you need to release someone? um how do you handle that with them, and then with the if there are other members in your dynamic, like how do you smooth that over with the person who has to go and the people who are still there? And then if
And
you
I want
when
an
you add,
anecdote. I want a story.
hold on, and then when you add someone, how do you clear that with the people who are already there and you're wanting to add somebody? So twofold question.
Okay.
Yes.
So the part about the releasing, first of all, let me just clarify that when I first started as a daddy, I actually had two boys, and they were a couple, and they parted ways. But me, in my infinite wisdom, can see the
Oh,
writing on the
infinite wisdom.
I can see the writing on the wall well before. And so we always had conversations about how is this going to work if you two decide that you're going to part ways. Because initially, one boy was more instrumental in starting the dynamic, and the other one kind of was a package deal. And so it happened. They split, and one of them started, let's just say, not holding the values that I think are important in my leather family or being in the community, period. And so when we started, there were conversations all along the way regarding, hey, let's not do that. I give forewarnings. Um, and So conversations were had, and at the time we were really only hanging out a lot during major events. So we had IML, we had Claw. That year we had Blackout. And so I watched behaviors as that time progressed, and I saw a lot of things, and I would just drop little nods like, no. So the last for me, because to know me is to know, um, regardless of what people think about me, I don't do major drama. I don't do um, a lot of cat fighting and stuff like that. And I'm definitely not going to deal with it within my leather family. So once
Mm.
things started getting to the point to where I was getting irritated, which takes a lot for me to get to that point, I decided to have a conversation with the rest of the family. At that time, it was only four of us, so because we did calls every Sunday, and so this particular Sunday he wasn't on the call. I took that moment to say, "Hey, I don't think this is going to work," but of course, we have to have a consensus because it's all four of us, and so, but I was daddy, but my leather uncle was a part of it too. And although, of course, he didn't report to me because I consider him my leather uncle, um, we talked about it. And for the best of the family, I had a conversation with my now ex boy and told him that we have decided to release him from the family. And that's how that works. And so you try to do it amicably. You try to be classy about it. It don't always work out the way it does, but
Right.
eventually we came back together because he actually is now a part of the extended family. He just doesn't fall under my what I call branch of the family. And as far as bringing someone else in, there's always conversations with I go to my alpha first and talk to him and see what his thoughts are. We actually give people trial periods. Puppy kind of snuck in, I'll be honest with you. He did it the proper way and came to me and asked me, but I had to clear it with Puma before I actually said yes. And Puma, so he did not become officially a part of the family until like a couple of months later.
And that's what I was wondering. Like, so does your boy can, can he have a firm no, or is it just I'm
Mm,
bringing this to you for your input, but it's happening? Or
Like, what if one person says no and everybody says yes? What do you do then?
that's what I'm trying to say, Jay. Like, if Puma has said,
Because
"Oh,
I've been outnumbered before in dynamics,
but
you
you
know what I'm
were
saying? So
really
I
like,
understand it
I
sucks.
really want Puppy to be a part of the family." Like, how would you handle that?
Right.
Um, so I have to be honest with you. I Puma's opinion is very important to me, and
Right.
and I can have people outside my dynamic. So he just wouldn't have become a part of the family. I, you know, at the end of the day, I have established something with Puma and my uncle for it's going on 7 years in February, and so that's important to me. And Um, so I probably would have been like, okay, well, we can hang out, but my boy, because we had actually considered another person. I will never tell y'all who it was, but we had considered someone else
Oh,
several
not on
years,
camera anyway.
not
I
on
already
camera,
know who it was.
and
Oh, bitch, you'll tell me later.
No, I
we
won't.
found out that this person was not, a fit for us, and so it was agreed upon, like, no. So, and will we give people a trial run? So, because for me, it's not about, I'm not a boy chaser, and I'm not a boy collector. So, it's not about how big your family is, it's about the quality. And so, that's why we haven't grown that much. So,
I think
I think I
that's
know
a
what you're
good
talking about. And yeah, you did dodge a bullet.
yeah.
Hey,
Keep your
man.
circle small. You keep the drama down. So I
mhm.
definitely
Mm-hmm.
May I
Absolutely.
interject? I have
Must
two.
you?
No, I have two questions. Um, and I just forgot the other question. Oh wait, I got it. So from your conversation just now, it sounds like there's possibly a hierarchy. Is that the case in your family? And
Yeah.
also, as the follow up, which should you take into account before starting a dynamic, if you may?
Okay. So if you look at my family, you will see that there's two branches. So if I was I can't. So I would have me on one side and my uncle on the other side. Then he has a boy. He has two boys and his partner. And then on my side, I have Puma, my alpha, Dirt, my puppy. And then if you look along the bottom, there are people who are not like they're not submissive to either one of us, but they're part of the family in general. And so that would be right now it's Daddy G, John, um, Carlson, and Pup Carino. And so they don't report to anybody. They're just a part of family because as we started growing, we noticed that we had the same people in our orbit when we go to IML, Blackout, whatever. They were there with us. So we all became a family. So the only two who actually that belong to me are my alpha and Pup Dirt Brown.
You may have said this before, but how many members are in your family?
He just said that.
No,
I,
that's
You never give a total.
I want to say there is. Hold on, let me just count my head, and you know I'm old. So one, two, four, six,
Do, 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 do,
10,
do,
right?
do, do.
10.
I
okay.
knew
So
that.
yeah, he didn't say that.
He said all the names, which totaled 10. That's how I knew it was 10.
Yeah,
Well,
but
you're the only one that counted.
yeah, I wasn't counting.
10
Sorry. It's the trained thespian
or
in me.
11.
I pay close
Because,
attention to details.
yeah, because Uncle's partners in it too. So it might be 11. I would have to sit down and count, but it's 10 or 11. Shout out to
Okay.
Jay Obama.
It's 10.
And, and for the second question, what was this? Oh, what to look for before you start a dynamic?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I believe that. So first, I'm going to start off by saying I think people jump into them too quick, and you haven't taken the time to get to know who you're going to be in a dynamic with. Because I'm for keeps. I play for keeps. I don't, you know, I believe in longevity and growing together, and so spending time, hanging out, views, but also travel together. That's a huge
I believe
indicator
that. Yep.
on how you will get along with your family because a lot of times we all share rooms when we go to Blackout or wherever, and that's a good indicator of if we're going to be able to get along. Because if I can't travel with you, you can't be in my family. So,
Yeah, that's very true.
That
but
part.
more than that is just respecting people's, who they are and getting to know them. Again, people rush too quick into these dynamics, and then they on Facebook blowing up Facebook because something happened, and there they are. So
I want to know
So,
what is your opinion on the daddy collectors or the boy collectors that we see in our community. You know what I'm saying? The ones who have to have five, six, seven boys, and there's no possible way you can invest quality time into all these boys that you are collecting and running through. You know what I mean? Like, what do you feel about daddies that have to have initiations where boys get ran through? Like, what is your opinion about these particular uh, 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 things that you hear about in the leather community as like this is how you have to be a part of my family or things like that. Because there's a lot of things that you hear that can turn you off to wanting to be in a dynamic. Because I'm sorry, I'm not about to have 10 niggas run through me to be a part of a family. That's
Right.
not that does not work for me. I mean, the
Right.
max can be two. I'll give a max of two,
No.
just two, but not 10. You know what I'm saying? I need some time to recover. I need some electrolytes in my life. So I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is like all of these different requirements, tropes, things that you hear. What's your opinion about these things?
You
First of
need an
all,
IV.
having
Honey, say that.
having people to run through you just to be a part of
Well,
family, absolutely ridiculous, and
That's wild.
it does not any leather values that I believe in. I believe that there are three types of leather people in my opinion. So there are the ones who are here for just visibility, like they just here. Then they want to be seen, they want to be heard.
right,
Then
right, 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 right.
the second ones are ones who are on a power trip and they just want to look good in the sense of, oh, look at me, I got 10 boys and they all pretty. Because there's a couple of them, and they still out there, I ain't gonna, that are just collecting people because of the way they look or whatever, not cool. And then there's the actual people who are in it for um, community, to build, to just for community and to make the community better and protect those that are in the community. And so my thought is that I don't like people who do that because people get hurt. Um, People leave the community because they've been used and abused, or someone has to come up behind you and pick up those pieces. We don't talk about mental health a lot, but imagine what that's doing to somebody mentally. Um,
Hmm.
I don't like it, and there's some people who I've lost a lot of respect for in the community because that is what they're doing. They're just collecting boys. And what are you teaching them? What are you? What? For what? Just to have you a piece of ass that you can get readily available? Because more than likely, those people are looking to you for guidance, and you just got them there for face value. So not cool at all.
I'm so glad you went there because I want to segue into that. How do you handle those that come into the game just looking to be on their back or be on their stomach versus those who are coming in to learn and grow? Like, how do you differentiate and handle? Because we come across in this, excuse me, we come across in this community a lot of people that just want to, especially in Onyx, that just want to wear the patch just so they can say that they are brothers. They can get beat down by other brothers and things like that. We have folks that think that when you come into a dynamic, it's just for fucking. There's the people don't understand, or some people, muggles, people who are not in the community, and some that are don't always understand the difference between a dad and a daddy, because there's a difference between a dad and a daddy. So how do you handle those type of individuals that don't know the difference and are coming in thinking that it's all just going to be you fucking blowing their back out all the time, and that's pretty much all that it's going to be, but it's a whole other thing to it.
So I can personally tell when it's, we just gonna say it, the fuck boys. I can personally
There you go.
tell.
Yeah, that's call a spade a spade. Call it what it is.
You can tell because I look at one the first time that someone messages me and say, "Hey, daddy," and the D is
Oh,
lowercase.
yeah.
Yeah, obvious.
Automatically, I'm like, oh, okay. So I take the time to educate them, and
Okay,
then
real quick. For those that don't know, in Leathering King, when you address a daddy with a lowercase d, is a sign of disrespect. You always address in text a proper daddy with an uppercase D. Just for those that don't know, but continue, please.
any of the dominant roles require a capital letter,
Yes.
and any of the submissive roles um, require a small letter. So that's the first indication. And then when they start talking about they kinky, I go right into it. I tell them everything I'm into. Oh, I like swallowing cum. Oh, okay. And that's pretty much the extent. Or I want you to do me on a balcony. Oh,
Girl.
that
Why do
This sounds
people's
like
kinks
something
sound so boring?
that's not kinky. That's you wanting to have sex. So you can tell
Right.
just by those instances when they say stuff like that. Um, and so that's how I can tell. But I always do the one thing that we in Onyx promised, and that was as to educate. And so I will educate you. I will take the moment to pull you aside and educate you. Like, if you truly are into this, then you need to do this because they have a completely skewed view of what actually being a submissive is, and
Yeah.
have no. So
So,
that's
I
how
think
I
the
I
do
think
it.
some people,
that Jay will give you a good
all the
lecture
education. Yes, he
to let
will.
you know. I have a
I am
And
question.
hollering.
Um,
Oh,
so you said that you were in a previous dynamic that you released yourself from. So
right.
I want to know because I know your journey, but I just want you to kind of discuss a little bit like what made you initially become a part of that initial dynamic? Like where was your head set? Like what made you want to have two sirs? And
and what
then
was your breaking point?
can I finish my question, fool? And then
You were going to
what
say that.
I was about to say that if you let me
Exactly.
finish. So
Exactly.
shut
I was helping you.
up. Then what was the turning point where you said, I think I want to maybe be solo and figure out how I'm going to move next?
So first of all, I will say that I am a very relationship oriented person. So in that aspect, I'm gonna try to make it work. But so without saying who it is, I my personal feelings with that. This was one of those situations where it was about clout versus actually teaching and growing. It was the whole, "Oh, look at me! I have two boys, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and my boys did this for me, and and it's always that type." And I will be perfectly honest with you. Again, they came as a package deal, and one of them was a complete and total and I mean Uber and the biggest Uber bitch that I've ever met in my life. And I again stated I don't do that kind of drama. I don't do the
Mhm.
nastiness and all of
Right.
that. And there was a lot of verbal abuse. And
Mm.
again, if you're going to be in someone's care, you should be taking care of them. And you call yourself a sir, but I've always said that you read Sir for Dummies because
Damn.
Mhm.
you had no idea.
He wants you to be pretty and not smart, pretty much.
Yeah, he you didn't. It was just nasty, and so I got fed up when I finally got to a point that they just I've had enough. The nastiness was just ridiculous. And so I'll never forget, and I won't put him on blast either, but he was my brother because we were both reporting to the same sirs. I would not repeat who it is because I don't want to bring them into it. But
Yeah. We
there
don't
was
need names.
there was a
Yeah, we
flogging
don't
se-
mention names.
there was a flogging session one night, and when the flogging session was over, he said to me, he beat the shit out of you, but it wasn't the kind of sexy Yeah, and I could tell like and I'm a pain pig, believe it or not. I can take
Mhm.
quite a bit, but when you're, of course, we all know for those Kingsters, there's a line between abusive and actually play, and he
Yeah.
crossed the line. And so when we had a discussion, and that's when I dropped the bomb that that was the last weekend that I would be under their care. Once I crossed, I knew I was going to be out. So that was a turning point for me because it turned from, and it's unfortunate because one of the sirs actually I really did care about and love because he didn't treat me that way, but he got caught in the crossfire, and I remember the day I released myself. You know, this is the narcissism that people have in this community. So how are you going to navigate your leather journey without me?
Books and
Very,
friends. The fuck?
very well. Thank you very
Like
much.
the internet. The fuck?
Right.
And look at me now. I'm a daddy, a
All
title holder,
right.
all that. And I got a phone call from the one sir because eventually they split and parted their ways, and he got to see the other side of it, and he called and apologized for everything that he had let happen during our time and how proud he was of me. So full circle.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing.
What's
That's a
up?
beautiful
It
thing.
is. That's one of the things about being a submissive that a lot of I think Doms don't think about sometimes is this person is allowing you to do these things. There is a very thin line between play and abuse, and that line can get crossed very easily without realizing it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And when you have these fucking doms that go on these power trips because they know that this sub is giving them that power because that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? We're giving you that power to do these things. They take it and they run with the shit. You know what I'm saying? And thereby creating more trauma on top of the trauma that the motherfucker already got going on. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, like myself, uses kink as a cathartic way to work through trauma. And if you have somebody that doesn't understand that, that doesn't know that, doesn't think about that, all they're going to do is compound more trauma on you to fuck your shit up even fucking more. They're going to make you not want to do shit with anybody else because then you don't trust any other motherfuckers because you think all doms and daddies just want to be on a fucking power trip.
Yep.
Shit is
Hence
fucking
why I
wild.
don't. That's why I don't like boy collectors. Because what are you doing? What are you?
Right.
How are you guiding them and teaching them if you're just there to
And I think that's one of the major things. Like, yes, when you discuss it, you do have sexual dynamics with your daddy, but ultimately, your daddy should be teaching you and guiding, and in some ways, providing certain things for you. You know what I'm saying? To help get you to a certain stage of life, or help move you to a certain stage of life, or help you realize particular things. And as someone who has been in dynamics before on the sub end of it, I can tell you that when you're not heard and you're not listened to, it can make you feel small and it can make you lash out. You know what I'm saying? It can make you challenge your DOMs because it's like if you're not hearing me to fulfill what I need, I'm going to challenge everything about you because I'm not seeing why I should respect you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I walked away. Yep.
Okay, I have a question.
Questions from?
All
Right.
right. So dynamics and relationships. Are you able to have a dynamic in a romantic relationship? Can they either be the same and go side by side? Also, if they are separate and you can't have the two, how do you navigate them or even establish a dynamic outside of your relationship on top of that?
That's a good question.
I think that dynamics can run the gamut. Like you can have they can be they are very there is no um it's not monolithic. So it can be different for different people. And so um like me my boy and I, we're not sexual. But we love each other and we'll still hold hands and things of that nature. So we're affectionate to each other. Puppy and I are more romantic, um, but he still, if Daddy speaks, he listens, and you just have to know how to differentiate between the two. I've seen people who are married and he's also his handler. So the key is communication and putting like
Mm.
communication and negotiation. Those are the key because you need to talk about it. You can't assume. You have to know where the other person in the dynamic, where their head is, how they're thinking. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the first time Puppy introduced me as his partner, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, okay," because I never thought of that in that manner, and so um, I personally don't believe in traditional relationships. So therefore,
Likewise.
I was thrown back, like whoa, But we've navigated it to the point to where we have a better understanding. Um, but it really depends on the two people who are in that dynamic and the communication and the negotiations that happen with it. I hope that answered your question. It's really hard. Like some people can't differentiate. And when it starts to be more than one person, some people don't know how to separate feelings. And, so like a rule in my family is with like Puppy, he's free to roam, but he can't do anything with people within the leather community. Now, a muggle, have at it. But like people out in the leather community, no. So everybody's different.
And how does that work? And I'm gonna yes, because I'm gonna be. How does that work in relationship to you? Like, does he have stipulations for like how you could move in the leather community? I'm just curious.
No, so I do. Daddy does what Daddy wants to do. I'm
That's what I
always.
was. Okay,
That's why. Why do daddies do that? No, no, no. Hold up. As a
that's
boy,
what I was.
daddy's always that stipulation in there. That gets on my nerve. Well, daddy can do what daddy wants to do.
That is so. First off, when I get into a dynamic, I'm very upfront about who I am, what I do, what I like, and all that different stuff. And you have a choice. And I am a kisser. I love to kiss. And so when I'm out, I might kiss five guys. You got to be cool with that. Um, and so it, it's just, and I'm not disrespectful with it. You know what I'm saying? But I will say that I struggled in the beginning with Puma because for whatever reason, soon as it was told that I was Puma's daddy, everybody wanted Puma. And so I had to learn how to not let jealousy or any of those things get in the way of our dynamic. Because, and I mean, but I'm also daddy. So if it's somebody who I don't like, I will step right in the middle and be like, nope, mm-mm, nope.
So
Because
what if your boy really likes him though?
Right. Yeah.
we have conversations, and if
I
he
thought I'm going
really
into
like,
a boy headspace right now.
if he really, 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 really is adamant, we're gonna have a long conversation, and I'm going to ask a lot of questions like, why? Why is this so important to you? Like I dig really deep. As you guys may know, I'm going to school to be a therapist, so I've learned some tricks. And so there's questions that I like to ask because I want to see what are you trying. Why is it so important to you, and what are you trying to get out of it? When you're with somebody for a long time, you know them, and you know what they're capable of doing. And again, I'm a protector. So if I think that this person is going to eventually down the road hurt them, I will intercede because that's what daddies do. We protect.
Why the face? Why the face?
You
Mhm.
see the face,
Me,
right? You see the
I see
face.
the face.
No,
Why
me.
I was. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like I was pondering
Like
something.
I said, the boy space, the puppy space in me is coming up as he's talking.
Well,
That's why
That's
I'm
not
just
the
sitting
puppy
here
space.
like,
That's the brat space. Damn it.
that one too. That
it
one
looked
too. Shit, like all of them.
it definitely looked more bad.
The,
But I will say this: that he and I had
yes.
we had codes. So if he doesn't want, there's a certain way he'll ask me because he wants to be respectful to that person. So he'll ask me in a way like, "So and so would like to play with me," and I would be like, "Okay," and we just have this. We I know to say no because there's a way he answers asks me. But if he says, "Can I play with?" then I know he wants to. You see how I did that?
Hmm.
Yes.
You know what? That is so crap. And I'm gonna say that as a boy. Let me tell
Oh
you
no.
something.
That's
First
Jimmy
of
being a
all,
brat again.
first of all,
I
daddies,
knew
you
this
can
would stir
want.
up conversation.
I told you I was going into my boy headspace.
Yeah.
Daddies sometimes do that as just to be jealous, or sometimes they just say no to say no, and that can be annoying as hell because you could really, really, really like somebody, and you can just maybe just want to suck a dick or something, and then daddy will be like, "No, I don't think it's a good idea." What?
See, that's in my opinion, that's not a good daddy. So at the end of the day, it's about protecting him. I know more, and even, especially back in the day, I knew a lot more people than he did, and so
Yeah.
therefore, I knew that if they were shitty, the answer was no. I no, because at the end of the day, guess who has to come back behind and pick up those pieces
Child.
when it doesn't daddy. So that's how we operate. That's how we do things. But I mean, it's been going on 7 years, so something happened, right?
Come on, brat.
I'm keeping the remainder of my comments to myself at this point. I'm just going to
For what?
breathe. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to breathe through the rest of this episode before I just let it. Hit you're muted. I don't know how that happened.
Oh,
The
good.
guys must have.
I was. I was. Yeah. I was like.
I'm going
I
to breathe
just
right now
like.
because
This is why I remain a free agent, and I'm just floating through the
as
room like
somebody,
it's hard for
but
me
this is
to.
one of the reasons why I get what you're saying. But this is also one of the reasons why, at the same time, while I am a submissive person, I am a person of service. This is why I find it very hard to have a daddy because I'm also a switch. And so when you
Also,
tell
brat.
me I'm all the above. I'm all the above. But if you tell me I can't do something and you can't give me good reason why I can't do it, I'm going to rebel against you so goddamn hard. It's going to annoy you. I will
Well, who
come
said
with
I didn't give a good
questions.
reason?
I will, huh?
Who said I didn't give a good reason?
I'm
And
just saying.
who said I ever said no? I've only said no probably twice,
Yeah,
and
reasons
it
for him
was
are subjective.
to protect him because I know him and I know him very well, and he gets caught up in people, and I'm just a protector, and that's what I do.
Hmm.
And so I don't want to see somebody get hurt. Um, we'll see him get hurt, if anything. So he's a smart man, and he takes very good care of himself. But sometimes when we first start, now I probably wouldn't say anything, but I will say that there is just we still have mutual respect for each other, and that is the most important part. That he still respects me 7 years later,
Right. Well,
and
the
it's not a
kids got to
power
develop
trip.
sometime.
Mm.
I said kids got to grow up sometime, so your relationship is
Yeah,
gonna
it
evolve.
evolves.
Yeah.
Exactly. It evolves, and you learn to trust. Like when I first got hold to Puppy, when Puppy first became mine, you might not remember this, nigga, but you leaned in and kissed him. You was about to get chopped.
Who the fuck did I kiss? Because it wasn't
Puppy,
her.
it was Puppy. You probably don't remember because you were probably of a high persuasion,
Pup, puppy,
but
puppy.
Probably trying to kiss
Puppy,
everything else too.
yeah.
It's only
And
one
so,
puppy.
Right?
yes,
Why would I? Why would I do that? He is nothing in the realm of my type at all. It might have
Because
been
you're a slut.
friendly.
Because you're a
I
slut.
introduced you,
Because
and you
you're a
went
whore.
in, but it's you and you family. So I was like, okay. But there are people who, in the beginning, I was about to knock the shit out of. Now I'm a little different because he's growing and he can handle himself. You were probably high, Nugget.
I probably was. Oh, I was probably all shades of fucked up because I'm searching. I am searching the complete Rolodex of my brain. It is not coming back, honey. I am searching the Rolodex of my mind. I smoked that memory away, baby.
I
Ooh,
remember.
okay.
Daddy's, Daddy's always remember. Trust and believe me. Daddy's always.
Oh, trust,
But let
trust me.
me.
If I did it, it was a high. It was a greeting. It was nothing behind it.
You were definitely greeting him. You were saying hi,
Yeah.
really greeting him,
Okay.
and it was,
Okay.
But no, I didn't think anything of it. But there are some people like who, in the beginning when I first when we first started touching on him, and I had to step in. Like, see, I do my stuff slick. I'm not going to show out. I'm just going to kind of slide. I'm like,
You
don't
ain't
do
gonna
that.
snatch them through the club.
Because
Lies, lies, so many lies. Because I see when you get in the right shade of turnt, if you get in the right shade of turnt, sir, I have seen you go through a club ready to snatch a bitch balls. I've seen you do it. I'm telling
Oh,
you, when you reach a certain level of turntness at a bar night, and someone says something wrong to you, you be 10 seconds from wanting to snatch a bitch hair out. I've seen you do it, sir.
I
You
haven't
maintain
seen that
you
yet.
maintain composure. Nah, he maintained composure. He will.
I
But
haven't, no, I
ooh, you
haven't
can
seen that
tell.
yet.
You
But
can tell.
he does that preemptive strike though. He's like, "Oh hi, you belong to me, by the way," and then moves on. Like, what the
Okay.
fuck? I wasn't even looking. Damn. All right.
Ah, that should be funny as fuck. Yes, we know when you say claim on an individual at a bar, sir. We know that because you make it known. This is my friend. Like, okay, all right, girl. Like, that's your friend.
Like, let me walk over the puddle. Sorry.
we see, we see, we see how that turned out, right? So anyway,
Right.
Oh wow. I can't
Ah,
tell him right now.
right, right, the stories that we cannot tell on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh Lord, that's the one thing when you deal with dynamics. There's always some funny stories or just stories. Period.
child,
Wasn't
2023 was a year.
it though?
Mm,
Shit.
I don't miss
I
it.
mean, a year of learning for all of us. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, do we have any other questions for this wonderful gentleman?
Uh, I'm
I
tapped out.
don't.
Um,
We could. I
I
think we
got
could probably wrap it there. I think we're leaving it there. Where
No, let Karen just
Oh, I think
go.
Eric has something he wants to say though.
okay.
uh,
Oh,
how explain how the boy. Well, I am a boy and a dad. Um, so explain how a boy would say the dad ease up on me doing anything with my boy or whatever.
Hmm. Okay.
Try say
I
say
know,
it one again. Say it again.
I
Give it to
know,
us again. Come on.
no,
I know I know what he's
I know it
saying.
seems, I know it seems like I'm throwing shade, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's serious.
Okay. So repeat it back to me one more time so I can make sure I got this
Yeah.
clear.
You want me to try and translate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I know what you were saying too, if you need
Okay,
me.
what he's trying to say is when you're also he's a boy, but he's also a dad, and when you have a boy outside of okay, when you're a dad and have a
When the
boy
boy
and have
is a
an
dad.
additional boy, how do you explain to the other boy to ease up on having issues with the alternate boy, pretty much?
Wait, so is the boy
No,
wait, so
I thought he was saying if I'm a boy who has a dad and I have a boy, how do I
right.
tell my daddy to ease up off of me when I want to mess with my boy?
No, that's not what he's saying.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, Hemi.
that's
I
why
knew it,
Oh,
Cole.
really? Okay,
okay.
Yes.
Whew.
maybe that's a two-parter.
So let's 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 be clear, a daddy can have a daddy. Cause let me tell you, if a fine one come and tame I might jump on that wheel. But
Again, we know.
That is true.
We've seen you daddy hunt, sir.
but no one has been able to handle me, so that part.
Ooh,
But
okay.
um, but I will say that again, it comes down to communication and negotiations because is so the question is, does that let's call him the bottom boy? Does he
All right for the bottom bitch of it all.
top or bottom, but just in the hierarchical of things,
Right.
does he report to the top daddy?
Yeah, yes, he does. But he reports to me most of the time.
So that top daddy needs to understand that just as much as he wants his boy to follow protocol, whatever it is that needs to be done, he also needs to respect your dynamic with your boy and have limited say so in that. And it's hard. It's very hard. But again, everything boils down to me to communication and
Right.
and and understanding of your dynamics. Because like if Puma ever got a boy, we would first discuss where does how does this look? Because does it branch this way and he's just your boy, or does he report to me? You know what I'm saying? So we would have to have that conversation about how that works. And I mean, I've seen so many crazy dynamics. I'm like, you know what? Who? What? What?
Yeah,
No.
But
seriously.
I also feel like in that moment, when you're saying, Jay, communication is key, I feel like the boy, which I.e. is you in this reference, Carnage, I feel like there should have, and I don't know if this happened or not, but this is just my thought process, how I would move in the situation. There would be a conversation that I would have had with my daddy,
Mm-hmm.
before I took on the boy, and the conversation would have been, this is what I plan
Mm-hmm.
to do with my boy. This is what I'm going to expect from my boy. When me and
Mm-hmm.
my boy are in negotiations, I will let you know what he expects from me, and we can rewrite some things or add or take away some things as needed. But I would have had that conversation before I ever took on a boy. I would have had the conversation with my daddy.
Yeah. Because at
And
the end of the day, as a daddy, you want your boy to eventually get a boy and become a daddy himself. That should always be the goal, in my opinion. Training them up. or bringing them up or whatever you want to say, so that they can go off and branch off. He's still a part of your family, but you know what I'm saying. You're helping the family grow, and one at the end of the day, it's about having good people in the community too. So it's kind of twofold. But I would say that you might have to be a little stern with daddy and ask him to respect your dynamic and do not deviate from what we discussed, because then it's a breaking of protocol. And that where the negotiations come in. You will not do this, and this. You can do
Right.
this, but you can't do this. So that's how I look at it. That's how, and this is again, it's not easy at all. Um, like I would, because a lot of, because I okay, I also share that somebody wanted to be my daddy, but then he thought that he was gonna be able to tell people in my family, nah, that ain't how this works. You know what I'm saying? We would have our, you know what I'm saying? Like we would have our own thing, and then you eventually may be able to come in there, but you don't get to dictate what happens in my family. Well, I want you, you, and you. No, that's not how this works. Two people actually tried this shit, and I was like, no, that's not how this works.
It's the same
So
thing in an actual family. Like when you have your
Mhm.
parent and you have a kid, mama and daddy, you can't tell me how to raise my baby. You could give me
yeah,
your opinion and some advice, but you can't tell me how to raise
right.
my kid.
And,
And
Oh,
and
it's kind of
truly,
a similar family tree thing.
it's up to that daddy. We ain't gonna act like we don't know who it is, but it's up to that daddy.
we're just respecting the show and not naming names as per usual. That's what we're doing. Right.
That
We all know who the hell we're talking about. We're just being respectful of the show.
my personal opinion is that daddy should understand, and that at the end of the day, that daddy should completely understand because of his role and how what he plays in your life. It's not easy, but you just have to be assertive and be like, hey, I mean, a lot of people contracts work. Like, get a contract. And this is how it goes. Because a lot of people get to this stuff willy nilly, and they just I don't do contracts, um, but it's very upfront and clear about what the expectations I have of my family, and I'm a
Communicate.
and I'm
Yes,
a
serious.
very
Like
open.
I can't stress that enough.
Yeah,
Communication.
communication is paramount. It is paramount. But I'm gonna also say that I am in a headspace that if it's not working,
Bye bye.
Right.
see ya.
Like the older you get, the less time you have for bullshit is what I feel
Hmm. Yep.
Amen.
Yep. So I mean, if it doesn't bring you peace and joy, never mind.
Yep.
I'm good.
like. Pretty much.
I'll always put the work in because I almost killed puppy a couple of months ago.
That would have been
But
funny. The
we
drama
had
from
a
that shit.
conversation. We worked out and we talked about it, and he understood. He got to see. Unfortunately, he got to see the other side of daddy, but you know, we worked it out, and that's what it's about: talking and communication. Just not giving up as soon as something goes wrong. You
I,
work at it.
I feel like if you still feel like it's worth it, you work
Yeah,
for it.
you work for it.
Once you
Absolutely.
get to a point where nothing is worth it anymore, then that's probably the point where you should step away. But as long as you
Yeah.
still have a moment where you feel like this relationship is worth it,
Yeah,
y'all should be putting forth effort to make it
and it
work.
takes and it takes two. It takes
Yeah,
both.
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
takes both. I'm sure he's listening. So
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
you. You.
Yeah, you're listening.
yeah, you. Yeah, you.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. I think on that note,
we'll go ahead and bring a shot to a
all all leaves
wrap.
have fallen from this shade tree. We should probably wrap this up.
Very much, yes.
Hey, I
Thank
just
you
want to
so much.
say I truly appreciate. you coming on and talking with us today. It's been
Yes.
truly enjoyable. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
You know what? It is. I am a person who believes that discourse and conversations and things are the way to change the world. So I am here for it. All
Absolutely. You
Yes.
never know.
Thank you
You could
so
just
so
tell
very
one
much.
person and change a life.
absolutely.
Okay.
What's the sign off, Mike?
All right, y'all can close the show.
That's what we're doing as we're closing it now.
All
Um,
right. Well, let's close it
yes.
down. You can hear us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. on Spotify or wherever else you listen to your podcast.
And you can watch us every Friday. No, sorry, excuse me. Every Thursday, we changed it. Every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. on YouTube at What's the Point Pod. You can also check us out on our website, what'sthepointpod.com. You can see a listing of our website, a listing of our episodes. You can watch them or listen to them. There are other information about us there as well. And be on the lookout for What's the Point merch coming very, very, very soon. All right. Thank you so much. Daddy J, once again for being here. We appreciate your wisdom. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you being an awesome, amazing guest. And y'all be on the lookout for the next episode in our relationship series on marriage coming out when we put it out. So, Hemi, my
You
good
might
friend,
not even
please.
hear it.
You might, depending on who our next guest is, you're right. It might not be. Oh, Hemi, please
Or
tell our audience what they can do.
stay classy. Bye, y'all.
All right, y'all, we out. See you later.